Welcome back, everyone. The iPhone 13 Pro just came out, so let's go and do a speed comparison between this phone and the iPhone 11 Pro, which is on the right. So all the apps are clear on the background. Now, to give you some perspective, the iPhone 13 Pro has that Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone 11 Pro has that Apple A13 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM. So 2 gigs of RAM different between these two, and this is technically a 2-year-old newer phone than the iPhone 11 Pro. So now that we have that basic stuff out of the way, let's start loading up some of these applications. So let's go make our way over to our app stores. 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 11 Pro did load up faster, but it was on a different panel, so I'll kind of let this one slide. Now let's go and kind of like click on some applications. So let's go on Disney Plus, and let's go and kind of scroll through here. And we're pretty much getting the same type of vibe on both. I don't really think there's that big of a difference between them. Now, I do have a couple applications we can download. So let's go and try Hulu. 3, 2, 1. And let's just go and compare the download speeds between them. Now, download speeds have a lot to do with networks. They're connected to the same exact network. Weirdly enough, the iPhone 11 Pro did technically open that one up or download it first. So let's open up this app. 3, 2, 1. And definitely got a faster experience, I think, from the iPhone 13 Pro. I didn't want to click on anything to kind of, mess with anything. But it does look like the iPhone 13 Pro loaded that one up faster. Let's go back to their app stores. For some reason, the iPhone 11 Pro did not want to do that. Let's go and hop out of this app. Now let's start loading up some other apps. Now we have some of these third-party applications we can go and download first, or we can install. I mean, not third-party, we're standard. Let's do Mail. 3, 2, 1. I think 13 Pro definitely was faster there. Let's do the Measure app. 3, 2, 1. And the 13 Pro did look to be a little bit faster, but we did get into this first prompt here, so not really sure what to make of that. Now, scrolling between these applications, I never really noticed a big difference. I did see a little glitch when this one was going to the App Store for the 13 Pro, or for the iPhone 11 Pro, but otherwise they both look kind of smooth for the most part. Hopping out of that app, we can start loading up some of these third-party applications. So let's start into it. Let's go BOFA. 3, 2, 1. And the 13 Pro does look to be a little bit faster there. Hopping out of this app, let's go and get into Temple Run 2. 3, 2, 1. A little bit of a pop-up here, so I did have to click on it, and another pop-up there. So we'll kind of give this one some leeway. It was still loading up in the background, so maybe we'll give it like half a second to a second. And even at that point, the iPhone 13 Pro would have still beaten the iPhone 11 Pro, even if those pop-ups didn't happen. So let's get into the game itself and see if there's a difference, which I don't think there's going to be that big of a difference here. Let's go and kind of see what's going on. And very basic game, so we're not going to notice it. Hopping out of this specific game, let's go and get into Fruit Ninja. 3, 2, 1. And it does look like the iPhone 13 Pro looking to be much faster. I'm getting ready to click on any pop-up that happens on the 13 or the 11 Pro, and you can see there was a massive difference there. I was not expecting there to be this big of a difference. That was pretty crazy. I'm not even too sure what's going on here, so let's just go and click here, whatever, it doesn't matter. And let me go and click, and let me go and get into some game. So I'm sure the gameplay is going to be roughly around the same. This is not a heavy intensive game by any means, but it's still pretty impressive to see the differences, and it does look like it's going to be roughly around the same. So hopping out of this one, another app is Facebook, but we're not going to do that. Stack. 3, 2, 1. And one thing I want you guys to kind of remember are, when I'm basically hopping out of these applications, how smooth that performance is too. Because although, it's very easy to kind of tell like which one opens faster, a lot of these different things is basically how smooth the app is when you open it. So I don't know what's going on here, and there's a plane going up above me. Snake vs. Blocks. 3, 2, 1. Definitely the iPhone 13 Pro is faster. iPhone 11 Pro a little bit behind. We keep getting these app tracking, pop-ups that keep happening. Not even too sure why, because I've already, clicked on it, already, but whatever. So that one covers up that one. Let's do Netflix. 3, 2, 1. Another pop-up here. Not surprised. Let's go and hop out of this one. Let's go and do Quizlet. 3, 2, 1. 13 Pro definitely far faster there. Dropbox. 3, 2, 1. 13 Pro again is the faster one. Hopping out of this one, let's go into Thank You. 3, 2, 1. And the 13 Pro does look to be the faster one. iPhone 11 Pro a little bit behind. Gameplay wise, I don't know if there's going to be that big of a difference. You guys can probably tell over the camera. Very, very similar experience for the most part. Hopping out of that one, let's go into Totem. 3, 2, 1. And you can see the iPhone 13 Pro does seem to be a little bit faster there. Getting into the tutorial, even when I click on next, it looks to be a little bit faster on there, which is pretty interesting. So that pretty much covers up that one. Let's go and do Crossy Road 3, 2, 1. Pretty sure I'm going to get pop-ups on both. So let's see what happens. But even gets into the splash screen was faster on the iPhone 13 Pro. And you're already in the game here. A little bit slower on the iPhone 11 Pro. So keep that in mind. On the iPhone 11 Pro, I'll probably scroll through here just to get past this tutorial. Now they're at the same spot. I mean, you guys can tell pretty much the same type of gameplay. I didn't really see that big of a difference there. Let's do Paper IO 1, 3, 2, 1. And definitely the iPhone 13 Pro, again, is the faster one here. Hopping out of this one, we'll do one more with Paper IO 2, 3, 2, 1. And then I want to get into some of the RAM management portion because that is always some of the most interesting things between these phones. You can see with the 13 Pro, we eventually do get into it. The 11 Pro is a little bit behind. It's definitely not that big of a difference here. And gameplay-wise, I mean, it's pretty glitchy on both. I'm pretty surprised how glitchy this game is on both of these. And I thought I hit that guy. And you can see kind of how a somewhat intensive game, I guess I didn't think this one would be that intensive, how it performs on both. So hopping out of this one, I want to now get into some of the RAM management. Like I mentioned, 2 more gigs of RAM here than on the iPhone 11 Pro. So if we make our way back to the first application, let's see what happens. So let's do, I guess this one was in the App Store for some reason. So we'll go into Hulu 3, 2, 1. Pretty much the same thing. So luckily nothing, happened there, which I wasn't expecting to be honest. So let's go back into their App Store 3, 2, 1. Okay, both kept these open too. So now let's go back all the way in the beginning with, I'm not too sure why those ones were at different stages. So let's do the Mail app 3, 2, 1. Okay, both are being able to keep that one in the background. Let's do Measure 3, 2, 1. So both were able to keep that one in the background as well. So we're seeing kind of a trend here. It doesn't seem like one technically closed out in the background. So let's do BOFA 3, 2, 1. It does look like the iPhone, well actually no, they both, so that was on a different panel. Now this is where I think things are going to start changing up. With the iPhone 11 Pro and with the 13 Pro, this is the first game that we're testing. Games are always notorious for crashing, so let's do 3, 2, 1. So it does look like the iPhone 11 Pro did crash that one, and I kind of expected that one to happen. So that is one thing right there. You're getting definitely a better experience, at least in RAM management, from the iPhone 13 Pro, at least from that one test. So let's just keep going. Let's do Fruit Ninja, 3, 2, 1. So it looks like both of these apps did crash. So if both of them crash, it's understandable. But that is a big thing to keep in mind. With something like this, not only did it crash, but it also recovered faster on the 13 Pro. And it was a smoother experience overall. So even without even having to test that much more, I can definitely tell you the iPhone 13 Pro is definitely going to be the faster and just better performing phone, even beyond than just, something like, oh, it's faster, this or that. You're going to be getting a much better phone when it comes down to opening these applications and keeping them in the background. Let's go and Snake vs. Blocks. And again, 13 Pro able to keep this game in the background, 11 Pro having to restart. And let's do one last one just to kind of, sum up this whole entire video. We'll do Netflix. I mean, they're both probably going to keep this open. 3, 2, 1. And they both kept it open. So ultimately what I will tell you is that both these phones are great. It's kind of funny because both these phones are my last phones that I used. The 13 Pro is the phone that I'm using now. The iPhone 11 Pro was the phone I used to use. And I do think if you're coming down to it, the 13 Pro is the better performing phone. The ProMotion also helps out a little bit. But this phone, with it having the extra 2 gigs of RAM, for it being a little bit faster than the 11 Pro, definitely helps out with the longevity of this type of device. I think 4 gigs of RAM is more than enough on an iPhone. But if you're doing something like I'm doing here, where you're keeping a bunch of different apps, specifically big games in the background, even minor games like Temple Run 2, if you're keeping those types of games in the background and you're doing a lot of intensive stuff like that, then you may want to go for something like an iPhone 13 Pro. On the flip side, when I was opening up the apps, when I was loading different things here and there, it was kind of a similar experience. I think the 13 Pro was faster, as you guys saw, but I wasn't really thinking to myself that the 11 Pro was slower. If I wasn't comparing them side by side, I wouldn't have been able to tell that big of a difference. So in terms of that covers it up in the speed comparison aspect. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.